Yes, this video.
What is Harvard Dataverse? Harvard Dataverse is a web-based data repository where you can share, download, archive, cite, and explore research data. It is and open to all researchers, both inside and outside the Harvard. Harvard Dataverse facilitates making data available to others for reuse and allows you to replicate others' work more easily. Dataverse
ठीक
journals data policies and follows very principles make findable, accessible. Set
There's a lot of background noise. I can't even hear myself. I don't understand how you guys are hearing me.
Yes, we are hearing you, but there is some connection problem.
Okay,
But
there's a lot of back.
okay. Net problem also.
I'm gonna go back to sharing.
Yes, yes, we are hearing. It is reconnected. Okay.
Yes.
and code that accompany the data. For the purpose of organizing your work, you can nest dataverses into other dataverses if you wish. All datasets and files in Harvard Dataverse are automatically assigned a DOI when they are published. Harvard Dataverse allows you to describe your data with robust metadata and control what kind of access to the data is allowed. You can open your data to the general public or restrict access to it. You can set customizable terms of use for your data. You can allow users to request access that you may approve or deny. Regardless of your data's level of restriction, Harvard Dataverse makes your metadata open, so people can learn about your research and find it via search engines and reference managers, even when the data itself is restricted from access. Harvard Dataverse automatically generates a data citation that can be used in the reference section of a scholarly publication. This helps ensure that authors receive academic credit and web visibility for the data they upload to Harvard Dataverse. Harvard Dataverse prioritizes archival best practices and guarantees permanent bit-level preservation of all data deposited. All data are backed up in multiple places. Your data are described with standards-based metadata so they can be located, interpreted, and understood in their original context far into the future. Tabular files deposited into Harvard Dataverse are automatically converted to preservation-friendly tab files while still retaining the original upload. Harvard Dataverse curation team offers a tiered set of free and paid curation services to any researchers who would like our support in ensuring that the data they share is high quality, well described, and reusable by others. Harvard Dataverse runs on the Dataverse software platform developed at the Institute for Quantitative Social Science, with extensive contributions from the Dataverse open source community. Harvard Dataverse is supported by the Harvard Library, Harvard University Information Technology, and the Institute for Quantitative Social Science. At a time when so much research across all fields relies on data sharing, Harvard Dataverse is a valuable tool to help you make your data available and receive proper credit for it far into the future.
Okay, so that was just a preview of the video that is available for your group.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go back to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our most recent presentation, Okay, and so that I can talk to
I
you.
was 13 when I
Excuse
first
me.
got access to a computer.
Okay, sorry. So are you able to see the slides?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we just released today version 4.19 of the software, and we are working towards version 5 of the software. So the most current features that we have for Dataverse, the software, is the support of file hierarchies, large data support, provenance, schema.org, open air, OAI, or metadata exports, make data count, data set external tools, and preview for files. So in file hierarchies, when somebody puts in a zip folder or a zip file that contains folders, then you're able to get a table and a tree view of what is in those files. It's the address files, the data, the do, the results, and you also get information on the substructure of the folders contained within that zip file. So this is for the data user that has quite a few files to manage, or for the ones that are including code and documentation and replication information. So they will have this folder hierarchy. For large data support, the data can be accessed through other terminal windows. So this Dataverse file here that we're talking about is 1.9 gigabytes, right? But using a command, there's more information for downloading and verifying the data.
Okay.
So if I get through this, then you can ask me whatever questions you need, okay? And then there's provenance. It's the record of the origin of the data file, because people are very interested not only in your final data output, but they want to know how you got from the beginning of the research project to the very end of the project where you are now in terms of data transformation, data computation, and all of the changes that you've made from the time you started collecting your data files to the time that you share it with the public. Now we have available new metadata exports. So we export metadata in Dublin Core, DDI, which is the Data Documentation Initiative, DataSite, JSON, OAI, OpenAir, schema.org, and JSON. Okay, so now you can explore the data on Harvard Dataverse, or you can explore at search@datasite.org for this metadata information, and that's available for every single data set that you create in your installation. You get these options for downloading the metadata content. Now, Make Data Count is going to give us more information about the research, the visualization, the downloads, the aggregation, the validation of the data. It not only gives you information on downloads, it gives you the information on the citation. So how often has your data set been cited? Okay. So this is information that's brought into Crossref and then brought back into Dataverse using the Make Data Count tool, so that when you're looking at it in a data set, you're going to see the information on how many times your research study has been cited. For the external tools, we have Wholetail and My Binder, which will be coming up in Dataverse 5, and we also work with CodeOcean for reproducibility verification of data content. Because as you know, the publication is the minimum requirement these days for sharing your research output. Now people want the data, but they also want to be able to verify and reproduce the results that you claim. And Wholetail and Binder and CodeOcean are tools that we are integrating that will allow you to do that. CodeOcean is already starting to work with journals that are using Dataverse to do their replication verifications for them and deposit a capsule back into Dataverse that contains the replication code. Do they have any right here, or can I continue?
Just Sonia, just I am pausing you. Our Vice Chancellor of University.
Let me stop sharing.
Just I am pausing you. Our Vice Chancellor of University, Professor Godara, is just joining this seminar. Professor
Very
Godara.
nice to meet you. I apologize that we started so late And I was telling your wonderful student here that I have a very early morning because we have a data conference at Harvard University that I also have to present to in the morning. So I apologize that you missed some of this, but I am leaving him with a lot of information that's going to be very useful for your meeting today.
Yeah.
Okay. Gave him a PowerPoint. I gave Prashant a PowerPoint presentation for our newest tools and our newest features. And I also created a space for your university on the Dataverse.demo site with some examples of how you can set up the installation for your departments, your faculty, your labs, and he has been given administrative access to that page. So you guys can play around with it during your meeting today without a problem.
Or for that, ma'am, we are thankful and with all kind regards, with all good wishes also.
No problem. It was very nice to meet him at the conference. He's been doing a lot of work on the Harvard Dataverse site with creating spaces. So I was very nice to meet him at ICDL this past year. So hopefully we can continue to assist him. But 12 a.m. in the morning here is not a good time for me to do it.
Our great pleasure for that. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
I will continue to finish the PowerPoint slides, and then Prashant, you can go into the demo Dataverse because you are you're doing very well with that demo and all the sites you've been creating on Harvard Dataverse. I think you'll be able to explain the features that I've put in there very well.
Sure.
So I'm going to finish with the slides though, because I want to just finish the presentation. Okay. So we were just talking about the Make Data Count tool, and then we were talking about the external tools for replication verification. Wholetail, MyBinder, and CodeOcean.
In history of our university.
And I will show you, so you have not gotten to see this website that I created for your group, but I can show that to you right now, that I created a space for your organization to see what it would look like for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have a link to a video on getting started with Dataverse.
Yeah.
But, I started with just a few samples of your schools, your School of Humanities and Social Science and your School of Technology. And under the School of Humanities, I just gave you an example of creating spaces for your faculty members.
Okay.
And then under the School of Science and Technology, you can create your spaces for your labs.
Yeah.
So whatever collection of spaces you need, you can create with all of the support that we're providing in these slides that I have been talking about and sharing with your team. So we were talking here about the replication verification tools. We have Wholetail, we have MyBinder, and we have CodeOcean, which is going to create a capsule that will have the reproducibility code for any data set that uses these tools to verify replication. Okay. Now, we also have a new tool that's available now called File Preview. And what it does is I don't necessarily want to analyze a data set because this is a data set I'm looking at, but I can look at the data set and see what is in there before I actually run analysis. Okay, and as you can see, there's a preview, there's metadata, and there's versioning, and this is a file landing page. This is an open source at Harvard Dataverse. Here is the file name. It's a tabular data file, which means I get to download it in numerous formats, not just the original. But File Preview is one of the newest features just released, and we just released 4.19 today. We have about 1,000 other things that we could talk about, but that would take us all the way back to 2003, but this is where we are now. So we are going to be implementing the Trusted Remote Storage Agent integration for sensitive and large data. This was developed by the Odom Institute at the University of North Carolina, and one of the tools is called Data Tags, and that was created by the Harvard Privacy Lab. We also have capsulation and packaging for replication objects. And we also have redesigned scalable data set and data file pages. So what do these look like? Here's the trusted remote storage agent. So when somebody, for example, Harvard's installation of the software, we cannot yet support sensitive data, but we are going to integrate the Dataverse tool, the data tags tool, in order to do that. But one of the other things we can do right now is have another storage facility that is considered a trusted storage where data will always be accessible. And basically what you would do is you would point from the Dataverse or from your installation of Dataverse to that trusted repository, that trusted storage. Okay?
Yes.
So all of the files will live there, but the access will happen from connecting through Dataverse. So there's a big project right now about Facebook called Social Science One, and that is led by our team of directors at the Institute for Quantitative Social Science at Harvard. And they do not put the data on Dataverse. They put the metadata on Dataverse, but the data files, because they are coming from Facebook, are so sensitive that they actually live in a trusted remote storage that is managed by Facebook. So the data are not on our site, but they are on Facebook, and you would come to Dataverse and you would be, when you have permission, you would get access to that trusted remote storage agent. Capsulation and packaging is the ability to do computational and reproducibility, run reproducibility in other environments. So CodeOcean is working with journals right now in helping them to do reproducibility verification. There is also Wholetail, Jupyter, and Renko. So with these, you can pull data from the Dataverse, the data and the code. It would run, and you would get an execute a code. You would execute the code and then put the data back into Dataverse. With some Jupyter and Renko, it's really it's an archive input, output, and workflow. The data and the code, and you get the reproducible container and the reproducibility verification. But everything ends up coming back into Dataverse so that all of the codes are available for viewing and for use. Now, we've been redesigning our data set and file pages, so I want you to see that now what you would get is the ability to download in multiple formats, but also those reproducibility verification tools that we talked about, and the ability to compute. This is the make data count that I was talking about, where you get data set metrics, how often a data set has been viewed, how many downloads, but you also get the number of times it's been cited. Which is something that we're just implementing. This should come out in version 5 of Dataverse, which is soon. But just taking a whole new look at the different ways that you can count metrics. The other thing you're going to notice is this blue tag right here. This is part of the data tags tool on supporting sensitive data that's built out of the Harvard Privacy Lab and the Berkman Law Center at Harvard University. So this is an external tool, and we're going to be integrating it into our installation at Harvard. So if you have an installation at your university, you can also integrate all of these external tools into it for to be able to support sensitive data. Okay? So in an example of the data file page. So, you know, this file right here is going to be blue, which means it's not completely sensitive, so somebody can download it. The code book is blue, but we have other colors as well, up to crimson. And anything that's tagged crimson, those are the Harvard University data security levels. If it's tagged as crimson, you have to go through additional verification in order to get access to the data. Okay, but we have the ability to filter by the type of file, the file tag, the access, whether it's restricted or public, and the publication year. And of course, we offer every data set, we offer files, metadata, terms, and versions of the data set. Okay?
Okay.
So we have, you know, we have quite a large community of outside coders from the other 51 installations around the world of the Dataverse software. They all help with the development of code and projects. So we have a project board on GitHub that you can link to, and you can see all the projects that we're working on, and you are welcome to contribute code. But you'll also find our roadmap for implementation, planning, and future. Okay, but GitHub is a big stop for anyone who is involved in having an installation, because there is where you talk about features that your institute is in need of developing, and you get people on board to help you develop. Okay, so right now there's 51 installations of the Dataverse around the world. There's 5,600 Dataverses, 125,000 data sets. But these are actually data sets and files that are in the Harvard Dataverse. But the 10,400,000 file downloads is across all Dataverse installations. Okay, 51 installations, but these 5,600 Dataverses are actually Dataverses that have been created along all of the installations. Okay? So we have 105 code contributors, hundreds of members of the Dataverse community. We have our yearly Dataverse community meeting. So this June, the week of June 19th, we have a Dataverse community meeting here at Harvard University. It's a 3-day meeting that if you're interested in having an installation, it's a great meeting that you send a representative to. We also have a Global Dataverse Community Consortium, and this is a group that most of the installations around the world have joined, because it gives you access to the community of coders, and it also gives you discounts on your DOI cost through DataSite and your handle cost. We have a Dataverse Google group, and we have Dataverse community calls that we do every 2 weeks, but we have calls for the international communities that take place at 9 p.m. at 9 our time, 9 p.m. at night our time, and then we also have morning calls that take place at 12 in the afternoon with the community to get involved with. So just so you know, I've included some information about the project, testing the features, and you have your space here, and then our support, and this evaluation is for our demo that we're doing tomorrow. So I left it in there for my own notes. So I'm going to escape out of here for now.
Thank you, Sonia.
I'm happy to take a couple of questions.
Yes. Sonia, you were in India and we were both together at ICDL with Prashant.
Yes.
Just you had a meeting at IIT Ropar, Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also had talks at other places. You might have seen that. You might have seen that there has been little developments in India, but we want to carry on the developments, particularly in collaboration with Harvard in regard to data literacy, research data literacy, and the implementation of RDM in universities and other institutions. So. Absolutely. Maybe we can have some joint program online or face-to-face or something with the university, and maybe in due course we can have some MOU or something, because till now lot of work has to be done with the teaching fraternity to make them aware about the sharing of data, research data. They are feeling shy in sharing research data as of now. So maybe we can have a lot of programs, joint programs with Vardhaman Mahavir University and Harvard University to carry on this useful tool, to the useful agenda for the teaching community. And yeah, please.
Our collaborations with your group are very much supported by my department. They really I shared with them everything that we did at IIT Ropar and at ICDL and in Gujarat with Dr. Kumbar, and they loved the work. They loved the enthusiasm. And, you know, when we went to IIT Ropar, there was a lot of enthusiasm for the research data management and for the tool. You know, we were unfortunately limited to 1 day because it was planned very last minute. But, you know, again, when we go to Singapore, we do 3-4 days of workshops. We do best practices in data sharing. We do software installation assistance. We do training on the features. We meet with students. We meet with faculty. We help them create their spaces and get everything done. So that's a collaboration to absolutely keep in mind. We're more than happy to help, whether we do a demo here or we do face-to-face. We just have to keep the time difference in mind.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, because we know you have to join very early morning for the
Yes.
conference you mentioned. So maybe we will be in touch very soon for further.
Absolutely, no problem. We're always here. So Prashant has my Skype, and you guys have my Skype. So please feel free to contact me on that with questions. And Prashant, I really hope that you're starting to add some content to all the spaces you created on Harvard Dataverse. If you're not, we're going to have to migrate it over to your installation. So that's not a problem, because you did a lot of work, and that's something you should share with your group that you're doing. So I hope the space I created for you is helpful. Play around with it. Okay, use the notes that you got today, because they're the most up to date. And then we can talk about the research data management and all of the other components of what you guys need to talk about and establish at your university. Okay, it's a big project, but it's doable because we have a nice community, and we all, it's open source, so nobody charges for anything.
Yes. That's the good thing.
So,
So nice. Thank you. Sonia, thank you.
it was
And
good
it's
to meet
pleasure.
all of you.
Yes,
Until
sir.
next
Thank you
time.
very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, very much for your support and time. It's very
Okay.
important. Thank you.
You're welcome. Until next time.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
nice.
Okay. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day.
Okay. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.